Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today we are going to talk about why you need to stop overthinking when it comes to those real goals and really start to just go and take that first step. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. Now, when it comes to really striving towards those real goals, overthinking is one of those things that is constantly going to get in the way because it can happen so often and truly play a major role when it comes to those real decisions. Because you see, when I was first getting started, I always had that dream of becoming an entrepreneur. I always wanted to own my business. I always wanted to help people out because I knew that was my calling, because I knew what I was going through wasn't for just no reason. I knew that I was meant to turn that around and try and help people out through my own experiences, through my failures. But the problem is that I just didn't have the mentality or that mindset to understand how to do it. I would constantly overthink. I would constantly go into this I can't and I'm not good enough mentality, all because I didn't know how to fully take control of my mind. Because I truly couldn't find ways to motivate myself and just keep going when I had to. I was slowly losing the actual grip of my dreams and my, goals. I was just letting it turn into ideas and just hopes instead of things that I could truly achieve, all because I was stuck in this mindset. Because I was putting myself in this loop and letting all of these distractions and all of this negativity get the best of me instead of looking at that bigger picture. So, once I started to do that and I really started to realize that your mind has to be changed in order for you to truly change your life. You have to fully take control. I started to listen to podcasts. I started to read articles. I started to find idols and people that I actually looked up to. I started to take notes, look at these big entrepreneurs and really compare their mindsets to mine and see what I could do. I was starting to see that when they were faced with these obstacles, when they were faced with these roadblocks, they always found a way to see that bigger picture and keep going. They always found a way to tell themselves, hey, you can do this. You're not going to give up. And that kind of lit that spark in me because until that point, I always thought that was impossible. I thought the mindset I had was just that was it. I was given it. I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't grow it. I couldn't learn. I was just stuck in that loop. So when I realized that these entrepreneurs were taking control of their life, they were telling their negativity, all these bad thoughts, no, I'm going to make this happen, and they were really making these dreams real. It basically just lit that fire underneath me to go ahead and try it. So that's exactly what I did. I then would go and apply myself a little bit differently. I would try and pick myself up. Like we said, I would really educate myself. I removed myself from certain situations and certain people because I was realizing that I actually had to change my mentality. I had to try and take control of my life in order to make those dreams real. So, understanding that your overall mindset plays a huge role when it comes to reaching those true goals is crucial because, as you see with me, if you are stuck in that mindset to where you are constantly letting all these distractions, all this negativity, all these fears, all this self doubt get the best of you and get in the way of seeing that bigger picture, then it will be very hard and damn near impossible to reach those real goals because it is going to be hard. Things are going to get difficult. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to take risks. You're going to have to do these things, and it is not mentally easy. So, in just to be able to take control, tell yourself that you can do it, that you can keep going, that you're not going to give up is going to absolutely make or break that overall success. Because if you can take control of your mind, I promise you, you can take control of your life. So if you're stuck in that mindset or in that loop just like I was, then this is your sign to go ahead and start to take control. Change those friends, change that circle, start carrying yourself differently. Actually look at those goals and really start looking at them as something that you can achieve. Start educating yourself towards them. If you want to be a streamer, go ahead and just buy yourself a piece of equipment. That way, every time you go into your room, you go into wherever it is, you now look at that equipment and remind yourself, like, hey, that is my goal. Go put quotes. I have quotes all around my room just to keep myself going, to keep myself motivated, to try and tell myself that you cannot slow down and that giving up is never an option. So understand that really taking control of your mind is going to make or break that real success. It is going to either help you get to those goals and really fulfill those real dreams, or it is going to stop you. So go ahead, take control. Don't let it get the best of you. Understand that you can do whatever you want in this world. I get it. It sounds cliche, but it is true. You just have to apply yourself, put your best foot forward, and start to make it happen. Stop the excuses, stop the I can'ts. I deal with that so much already. And this isn't just to compare. I take Prozac every other day just for my anxiety and depression. I understand what it's like to have self doubt, but you have to fortify your mind and almost look at them as excuses. Do not let that get in the way. Do not let all of these other things stop you from reaching your true potential and go make those goals happen. But with that said, today's quote is by Greg S. Reed. He once said, "A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcasts.